Hello, everyone. I'm Mr. Allen, and this is week 7, Friday the 13th of October, and we're doing CTE, Game Design and Integration Pathway. This week, unfortunately, I'm just kind of going to tell you what needs to be done instead of giving you any kind of lesson. There's a lot of kind of paperwork assignments and standards we need to catch up on, most of you. Some of you are ahead of the game, but I'd say the majority of you have some catching up to do. So I just wanted to basically make this video, and if anybody wants to talk more about it, go ahead and let me know, and we'll schedule our own little conference. So my main concern is the amount of standards that have been done so far. If you're on the Game Design and Integration Pathway homepage, looks like this, right? Go to Assignments. This is really the only place that I have anything for you to look at. It's on the Assignments button. Again, all my videos are posted here. My invites to the weekly meetings are right here. And this week I want to point your attention to this. Hopefully you've already clicked it. Hopefully you're aware that this button exists and what it shows you. If not, I'm going to show you anyways. So this will tell you what's for each class, meaning intro, intermediate, advanced. And on top of that, it'll also show you how many points the standards are worth. So some of the easy standards are only worth a quarter of a point. And we need to have 5 points done by the end of the semester. So that being said, some of you may have a lot of work to do to catch up on things. For now, especially if you're in my on-campus classes, even if you're not, if you're on the online classes, I really need you guys to finish up all the D 1.0 stuff and D 2.0 stuff. So you can see they should not take you very long. They're only worth a quarter of a point. And these are all assignments you can do without any, prior knowledge, or I don't really have to teach you anything. It's pretty much just researching and explaining and presenting what you've learned. If you haven't already finished 1.0, which means all of these 1.1 through 1.5, I want that done this week for sure. And preferably I'd want you getting close to done with 2.0. Because in my opinion, these are pretty easy. They're pretty simple just to research. You guys should be able to use Google. And on top of that, I have assignments for you to follow that I pretty much hold your hand through it. So there's no real reason or excuse that you shouldn't be done with all of this within a week or two. If you aren't done with that soon, you're going to be falling behind. You're not going to get credit for the class, and we'll have some issues. So a lot of you have maybe done 1 or 2 of these. It's week 7. We sat down in person in Temecula and we're able to do 4 of them in 3 hours. So there's not really a good excuse for not having these complete yet. If you have one, please let me know. But really, it's just research and then present. You can present either via a paper, a PowerPoint. We can have a one-on-one meeting, and I can quiz you verbally, face-to-face, what have you. I don't really care how you present that you know the knowledge, as long as you show me that you do understand the concept. Usually most students are doing something like a Google slideshow, because that seems to be pretty easy. You need to have like a couple notes per topic, some images, some research, not too difficult. For example, if you go on the assignment page and you're scrolling down, so here's all the, let's pretend we're gonna do 1.3. Take a look at what that one looks like. Most of these assignments will have an assignment on the standards page itself. If they don't, you can always come up with your own. And even if they do, you can come up with an alternative assignment as long as it hits this, and that's the standard. As long as you understand it, I'm really open to almost anything. But this one's easy. I pretty much did the work for you. If you check out my slideshow, I have a pretty lengthy slideshow here, but you can power through it. I mean, it's an easy read. It's about video games and platforms. Most of you guys probably know a lot of this stuff, but I go back and talk about the history, stuff you may not know, like back to the 60s. And I pretty much give you all the information you're going to need. So browse through my slideshow. At the end, there's an assignment where you can research an upcoming video game platform and kind of speculate on it. You could also talk about the current state of video game platforms. You can choose one of the big three, Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo, and kind of give me the breakdown of their history and maybe the future. It could be basically a one-page written assignment, a PowerPoint, really however you want to submit this, as long as you can prove you mastered the different platforms and game hardware. Pretty simple, right? Okay. So, and then we'll just go on down the line. 1.4 videos for you here. I already did the research for you, basically. I want you to do a tiny bit more, but really you're going to look up how technology transfers, how video game technology transfers to other industries such as education, medical, corporate, and military. I have an example of at least one of each here. Your job would be basically just to do the same and give me an example of each, kind of break down what the overall theme is and how they're using the technology. And you can just present that in a Google slideshow or a written format, however you want. These really shouldn't take all that long, honestly. I mean, you're in high school, you should be able to kind of research, kind of gather the material and report it within an hour or less, I would think. And, you know, just keep going down the line. I have assignments for all of the 1.0 stuff already posted. I have assignments for some of the 2.0 stuff posted. If you can't think of something and you need help, just send me an email and I'll help you come up with a different assignment. Some of these are weird. Like, you know, and I understand these standards are not written by me. They're written by somebody in Sacramento that just came up with these things because they sounded good. I don't know. Like this one in particular, compare and contrast player-centric design and designer-centric design. That's not really a thing. That's kind of just words that people made up. So you can take it however you think it's meant to be read. The best I can come up with of what that even means is a game that's kind of single player storyline mode, or a game such as like Minecraft where the player is the designer. There's a couple ways that you could interpret that, but really these are not super important things you're ever going to need to know in the industry. They're more or less research, regurgitate, give me some examples, tell me what you think about it. Shouldn't take too long, right? A designer-centric game, you know, I don't know. Those are pretty ambiguous. Player immersion, that's something you can research on your own. You know, what gets the player sucked into the game and how is that accomplished? Whether it's playing a first-person game, whether it's having a relatable main character, maybe it's a VR game, so you're completely immersed in the world, stuff like that. The fundamental building blocks of games, those are pretty easy to kind of look up. And I do have assignments posted for some of these also. So just check first on the assignments page to see if there is an assignment. There should be one here. This one's pretty easy too. It's basically go to this website, read about the different jobs, follow the, just follow what it says to do. And at the end, you'll basically choose a job that you think will fit you best. And then answer some of these questions. You're done. Shouldn't take all day. Let's see what else. The only one on here that might take a little longer is coming up with a control scheme. So I do have an assignment for that as well. Basically, you should already be thinking about the game that you're planning on pitching, which a game pitch, as I've already explained, is you come up with a concept and you explain the concept and you pitch it to me and the class. And if it's chosen, then we will all probably start working on your game next semester, most likely. I want to get all of this stuff out of the way this semester. The next semester we'll just be making games the whole time. Another one that might take a little bit of time is the prototype a small game using real world objects. So you'll have to come up with a simple game. It doesn't have to be something crazy, it could be using dice, cards, ball, pen and paper, kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons thing. It could be a game simple as Go Fish. It could be a dice type of game, or anything else you can think of that you can make with, everyday objects. That one might be a little tricky to come up with an idea, but it's not necessarily going to take all that long once you have the idea. So the goal within the next 2 weeks would probably be to finish all this. Everybody should be done with these already. If you're not, you need to get those done now, ASAP, and begin working on these. And once we're done with that, let me add this up. So that's one. So that'll basically be 4 whole units if you complete all of these, which we need to have 5 done by the end of the semester. So after that, you would only need to knock out a couple more of these smaller ones, and then you'll be back on track. The bigger ones are going to be creating your game design document, which is going to be your game pitch that you're coming up with, and all the details of how that game is actually going to play out, what it's going to look like, what the story is going to be, all the mechanics of it, and so on. That one, since it's going to take a little while, I made it worth 1.25. So another one that's worth, I probably should make this worth more, but it's only at 1 point right now. 2D and 3D models. We're going to spend a lot of time actually doing this. Even after you've completed the standard, we're going to keep making 3D art through the rest of the year. This is one of the most important things you're going to actually do in the class. The rest of these are kind of just research and stuff. So you don't necessarily have to go 1.0, 2.0, and so on. If you find one on here that, catches your eye and you're like, I want to understand character design, what have you, you can skip to one of those, as long as it's not something that you'll need to be taught. Like the 3D art, I'm going to spend a significant amount of time teaching you guys that. You can look up stuff on your own. I do have a set of tutorials on Blender, which is under the, if you click resources, my Blender training is right here. I've already created 3 videos and I'll be working on more. Excuse me. So yeah, I really just wanted to get the word across that we need to kind of pick up the pace here, especially once the computers come in, everybody's going to want to start making games, but I'm going to have to force you to get some of this research standard work stuff done first in order to stay on track with what's required from the school to get full credit for this class. You can go ahead and work ahead. I mean, there's no reason you can't finish all of this stuff early. And then you could move on to intermediate. If you are in the intermediate class, sorry for focusing more on intro. It seems like that's where a lot of the struggle is. A lot of my intermediate students went through all of this last year and seem pretty well equipped to handle coming up with their own types of projects. If you are an intermediate and you're having trouble coming up with a project idea, just email me and I'll help you come up with something that'll fit your skill set. And, you know, some of these are easy. You can start with random number generators or, you know, explain 2D and 3D art. Like, you can handle those until we all start working on the games, and then we'll get more into animation and programming and all the good stuff. And if you work your way through those, then obviously we can move on. The next one would be the Capstone class. So I hate to keep repeating myself and talking about standards all the time. I'd much rather be teaching you cool stuff and showing you how to make games and all that good stuff, which will come soon. But in the meantime, let's get all of our research done and all of our presentations and our, you know, get these standards out of the way. Then we can really start jamming and making games. So I'm going to leave it at that this week. There's really nothing I need to teach until you're all complete with pretty much all of this. If it's confusing or if you have any questions at all, you can email me. If you want to do a one-on-one meeting, let me know. Send me an email. We'll schedule it. I'm available for those generally Monday, Tuesday. Monday, Tuesday would probably work best for me. Possibly Friday. But like I said, just email me. We'll figure out a time that works for both of us. And then we can talk one-on-one and figure out where you're at, where you need to be, you know, and so on. Other than that, make sure you got a computer that's running Unreal and Blender. If you don't, let me know. I've been told that the computers will be coming relatively soon. The order should be placed hopefully on Monday, and then we'll be actually building them in class. So a lot of this research stuff you can do at home. I want the time in class to be spent more on working on projects, actually, you know, learning things hands-on, so that we can spend more time doing that together. And then when you're at home, you can practice and work on these kind of research standards and all that good stuff. And like always, stay on top of your journals. It's due Sunday at midnight. And I think that's it. So shoot me an email if you want. If you have any questions, I'll get back to you within 24 hours. And we can always schedule one-on-one meetings. Also, I'll be on the Discord server if you want to try to catch me on there, or we can talk face-to-face. So try to keep watching the video playlists if that's helpful for you. I'm going to keep doing one every week. And hopefully, if there's something that you want to learn, send me an email before Friday, and I'll try to work that into my Friday video. For now, we're just kind of working on this stuff, but I'm going to try to slip in like a 3D modeling tutorial or a game design tutorial each week as well. All right, so let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, I will talk to you guys next week. Have a good one.